You see, most of you are able to pass a funded account, but 98% of you are not able to get a payout. And no, it's not because you're a bad trader, it's because you don't know the method to actually get a payout. You see, I've been in your shoes. I've tried numerous times to actually get funded. And when I finally get funded, what happens after a few days? I end up losing that prop firm challenge. Why? Because I don't know the method to actually get a payout. You see, most of us believe that the strategy to get funded and the strategy to get a payout is the same. No, those are two separate strategies. So in this video today, I'm going to break down exactly how to get funded and then how to get a payout in the next 10 days. So let's start off with the easiest part, which is actually passing a funded account. You see, most of you don't know which prop firm to use, what evaluation process to go with, and what the requirements are. Okay, so first and foremost, please do not be a cheapskate. Okay, I try to be a cheapskate when it comes to passing funded accounts or actually picking funded accounts, and let me tell you, I didn't have the best of experience. Okay, I didn't get payouts. The customer service was terrible, and let me tell you, the space for prop firms are just ran by a lot of influencers. Okay, prop firms I ended up actually having a good time with and actually was able to make money with was FTMO, Funded Pips, and 5%ers. Those are just the ones I've used. If you have actually got payouts with different prop firms, definitely let me know in the comments down below. But those are the free prop firms that I use, which were verified to get me payouts. Now, most of you don't know which step to use, right? Is it one step? Is it two step? Is it three step? Or is it just direct access? Okay, first and foremost, do not go with one step or direct access to a funded account if you've never been funded or you've never got a payout. Okay, most of you should start off with a two-step. Okay, if you are feeling shy or you don't actually know, you don't have the confidence, go for a three-step. But I think the best steps are definitely the two-step challenge. Okay, the two-step challenge is very, very simple, very, very easy to pass, and it really gives you the belief and the challenge to actually show yourself and prove to yourself that you are a good trader. When it comes to prop firms, it's not about who's the best, it's about putting the money where your mouth is, right? You say you're a good trader, well, show us what you can do, right? So show yourself, what can you do? So go for that two-step challenge if you've never ever tried to get funded or have never ever had a payout, because that's like the sweet spot when it comes to getting funded accounts. Okay, now, again, please don't be a cheapskate. Please don't go and try and go for the one that has less targets and easier, challenges. Go for the standard requirements, which I'm going to speak about, which is FTMO, because number one, that's going to prove to you that you're a good trader. And number two, it's all about how you are with your psychology and how you are with your methods. Okay, it doesn't matter what prop firm you use, the method I'm about to teach you will get you funded and will make you get a payout. Okay, so let's first talk about, okay, the requirements. Okay, what do prop firms want you to do to pass their challenge? Okay, now most prop firms are different, but I'm going to speak about FTMO. Why? Because they've been here for the longest and they do verified payouts. Okay, I'm not going to speak about any other prop firms because some of them have different evaluations and stuff like that. We're going to go for the standard FTMO challenge. Okay, so let's say we go to online, we look at FTMO challenge. Okay, we go for the two-step challenge. Okay, the two-step challenge requires you to get 10%, okay, in the first step, and then another 5% in the second step. After that, you are now funded. Okay, now that seems pretty easy, right? 10% and then 5%, pretty simple. The thing is, right, most of you don't actually understand the daily drawdowns and the maximum drawdown that you can have. Okay, so the daily drawdown is usually 5%. Now, I can't lie to you, you should not be hitting daily drawdowns. Okay, if you hit a daily drawdown or you keep messing up because of daily drawdown, that is because you're greedy. Okay, do not ever hit your daily drawdown. Do not ever hit that. Okay, try and make sure that whatever you do not hit that daily drawdown. Because if you hit your daily drawdown, you are a greedy trader and you just want to full port this account and try and speed run the challenge, right? And to be honest, you can't do that. That's why they have that daily drawdown. What's the most important for us though is the maximum drawdown, which is 10%. Okay, so to be honest, you either make 10% or you lose 10%. Okay, that's the only ways it can go, right? So we need to make sure we don't go to that losing side. We want to go to that winning 10%. Okay. So the first step, okay, when you're in your first step, what do you have to do to pass the first step challenge? Well, for me, I want to go as aggressive as possible, but not too aggressive where I'm getting close to that daily drawdown, okay? And I'm going to risk 2%. Why am I risking 2%? Because I want to try my best to get to that 50% level, so that halfway through that challenge, okay? So if I risk 2% and I go for a 1 to 2R trade, now 1 to 2R, I'm keeping it hella reasonable with you, okay? I'm keeping it very, very simple, 1 to 2R. Most of you go for 1 to 3, 1 to 4. That's even better, right? But 1 to 2R is like, okay, simple work, okay? So I'm not giving you over expectations or anything that's just not doable. I'm literally giving you something that is doable, okay? So your first trade, as soon as you purchase this, the first trade, you want to go strong with 2%, okay? If you win this first trade and let's say theoretically you hit a 1 to 2R, guess what? You are 4% in and you're pretty much halfway there, right? You're pretty much halfway there, passing step 1. What do you do next? If you win your first trade, you go and you place another 2% trade, because now you have 2 trades that can basically cover you until you restart again, right? So you have 2 trades to kind of play with the market's money and see where you can go. Now, let's say you have a really, really good run and you now win another trade, right? Guess what? You're now 8% in. You only need 1 more trade. You do it again, boom, 2% again, you're good, you're clear. In 3 trades, you're done, okay? Now, I know that sounds easy. What happens when you lose? Well, if you win your first trade, but you lose the next trade, we always drop down to 1%, okay? So if you win, you continue with 2%. If you lose, you drop down to 1%, okay? What happens when you win that 1% trade? Well, you go back to 2%, okay? So I'm gonna repeat it again in case you guys didn't understand, okay? So when you start off, you go hard, you go crazy, you go 2%, okay? You place a 2% trade. If you win, you continue with 2%. If you lose, you drop down to 1%, okay? You do this consistently until you either pass or you fail, okay? Let me be honest with you. If you're a good trader and you actually understand risk management, 9 times out of 10, you are going to pass this first step, okay? What happens into the second step? Now, the second step, we now drop down the risk to 1%, okay? You win, you stay with 1%. You lose, you go to 0.5%. Okay, and you do that, then you pass your second challenge. Now, that was the easy part, right? The easy part was passing the first step and then passing the second step. Okay, remember the second step is 5%, so technically it's pretty much the same as the 2%, the 10%, but just half of it. So that's why we drop everything by half. Okay, so again, if you win, you stick with that 1 or 2%. You lose, you drop it by half. Okay, and you do that. And yes, it is aggressive, but at the end of the day, we are trying to pass this prop firm challenge as fast as possible. That will get you past within a week. You will pass within a week if you follow that steps, okay? Once you have followed those steps, okay, and you pass that within a week, the second week is where you're now trying to get a payout, okay? And this is where things get a little bit tough. Why? Because your psychology is starting to hit now, because you've just hit a crazy milestone. There's a reason why they give you certificates. There's a reason why they say, congratulations, you finally passed your prop firm challenge. Why? Because they want your anxiety. They want you to feel a type of way, right? We don't want to feel a type of way. Our mission ain't over, right? The game is not finished, right? The job is not done. Okay, so what you want to do next is you want to drop your risk completely to 0.5%. Okay, if anything, go to 0.25%, right? But 0.5% is a good spot to be with. Why? Because number one, you're never ever going to be in daily drawdown, and number two is you're never ever going to hit that max drawdown. Okay, so technically you're never ever going to lose this prop firm challenge, right? And so now what you're doing is you're playing the slow game. So you see how at the start we went aggressive, we went pretty fast paced. Now we're going for that slow game. Okay, and so you do this until you hit a 1% trade or 2% trade, and then you're finally able to get your payout. Okay, what happens though if you lose every single trade, right, from the start? Well, if you lose every single trade from the start, maybe it was bad luck, or maybe the market condition was terrible. Well, don't worry, you go for another prop firm challenge. Okay, prop firm challenge is not like you do it once and that's it. It will take you a few tries to do it. Okay. And yes, you do need a bit of luck when it comes to market conditions, but let me tell you a little gem on how to actually pass it in your first try, okay? If you feel like, or you have been trying and you keep losing, it's most likely because you're not going for A+ setups. You're going for that 50-50 setup, which you don't know if it's going to pass, you don't know if it's going to succeed or hit your stop loss, right? Well, try and go for A plus setups. You see, most of you are trying to go for every single setup that you see, right? Treat this prop firm challenge like it's a live account. Would you go for every single setup on your live account? No, not really. So just because it's a prop firm challenge, don't just think that, oh, because it's a demo, because it's prop, I'm just going to go whatever, and hope for the best. No, try and stick to your discipline, which is A plus setups only. Okay. If that means that you only see maybe 2 A plus setups for the week, that's fine. Because guess what? 2 A plus setups will get you to the 8% mark, which is basically almost 80% of that step one, right? Then once you get to step two, you go again, A plus setups. Now, yes, it might take some time depending on the market conditions. Okay, we can't predict the market conditions. We can't predict what happens. But guess what though? You will be able to actually get funded using this method, okay? And then when you get that payout, you take things completely slow, okay? Now, I know a lot of you are going to be screaming through the screen saying, but 0.5% isn't that much. But guess what? We're trying to be here in the long term. We're trying to play the long game, and we're not trying to speed run that payout process. Okay. When you get payouts, you're trying to get a payout of maybe 1 or 2% anyways. So if you'd risk 0.5% and you get a 1 to 2 trade, you're already 1% up in that account. Okay. Now, if you do that twice, guess what? You're 2% up. Right. And so you do the same method when you are looking for that payout. If you win, you stick with 0.5%. If you lose, you drop it by half, which is 0.25%. Okay. And you keep doing that process until you get a payout. And when you're up 1 to 2%, don't be greedy. Go and get that payout. And as soon as you get that payout, go and fund your live account and keep doing that process until you are comfortable with your live account, where the money that you're making in that prop firm, you can now make that in your live account on a monthly basis. You see, most of you have it completely wrong when it comes to what to do with your payouts. When it comes to prop firm challenges, most of you will get a payout and have a nice, lovely dinner, or fly out to Dubai and enjoy your life, right? And I know it seems like the good option, right? Enjoy your profits, have some fun. But the thing is, most of you finish off the game and the mission, and you forget about what the real goal is at that payout stage. Some of you are not even at that payout stage. Some of you are at that funded stage, right? I've just basically tapped into your brain and told you, no, it's actually the payout stage. But reality is, it's not even the payout stage. The end mission is to have freedom, right? To have that financial freedom. In order to have that financial freedom, you have to have a live account. You don't want to go through restrictions. You don't want to lose a prop firm challenge. You don't want to now be dependent on an external company to pay you out every single time, right? You want to be able to just pay yourself out whenever you want, risk whatever you want, be able to trade the way you want to trade, right? That's our goal as a trader. We don't want to be trading for someone else. We want to trade for ourselves. Okay. So when you use this process, don't forget the end mission, which is to get a payout. Not only is it to get a payout, is but to fund that live account. That is the end mission. Once you fund that live account, you keep going, growing until the point where you have that freedom, where you can make that kind of money that you're making on prop firms in a funded in your live account. Okay, if you are struggling to get payouts, or you're struggling to get funded, or you just want to be a full-time consistent profitable day trader that has the freedom to do whatever you want, I am opening up a few spaces to my mentorship program. This is working with me one-to-one exclusively. If you're interested and you want to fast forward your life and change your life forever, click the link in the description below. Fill it out. It only takes 30 seconds and it will change your life. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn that bell notification on. I'm about to be very consistent on YouTube, and I'm going to share a lot of value to you, so I don't want you to miss it out. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.